Okay, we're going to drape a mandarin collar. It's really like a band collar. Just stands up, there's no roll. And this is similar to the convertible collar in that you end up sort of drafting part of it before you even start draping. It's a pretty simple shape. And here are some photo examples of different mandarin collars. Okay, it's a simple shape, but it's not 100% straight. I have a straight piece here that I'm going to quickly just put around the neckline to show you why we're not just a straight band. Secure it at center back. Straight one, sort of, especially here in the front, just lays too far out away from the neck. We can we can go to camera 3 now. You can see it more here. It's flopping away, even if I chop it off. So there's just too much space there. So what happens is we need to tighten up this outer edge just a little bit. So the smaller or shorter distance along the outer style line, the closer in the collar will be. Same holds true with a folded collar like a convertible or a Peter Pan. If you need it to stand up higher, you make the outer style edge shorter. If you need it to lay down more, you open it up. But for our mandarin collar, we're essentially going to take it in right there, which I will just do on a new piece of muslin. So I've got my piece here. It's about 12 inches by 6. It's more generous than I need, especially in the width. You can see my selvage. Today I'm going parallel to the outer edge, so it'll be perpendicular to my center back. I'll mark center back, and just like my convertible collar, I'm going to draw in a guideline to start my back neck. That will just be on a grain. And I'll give myself a 1/2 inch up guideline to shoot for center front landing on this, which if we had this guy and then we took that pinch in there, you see how he starts to curve up. I took some little clips on the torn edge over here of my muslin just because it was kind of curling up. And I'm actually going to go on and make some clips through my selvage before I even start. So I will start aligning this guideline to my neckline here. If you have not watched my convertible collar demo yet, you don't know that whenever you're draping collars, you need to have your neckline established already. You can't just drape a collar to a naked dress form, because the neckline will be different perhaps in your garment. I've just got a little dicky sewn up here, just shoulders joined, quarter of an inch seam allowance, quarter of an inch added to the neckline, and then I've stay stitched right around the final neckline, the sew line, so that I can see where that is. So that's what I'm doing. I'm pinning this guideline right to the neckline of the bodice. I'm grabbing just a little bit of the fabric because it's difficult to go perpendicular with the way the dress form is shaped here, and I don't want to grab a whole lot of fabric. I'm only pinning muslin to muslin at the moment. I'm not anything connected to the dress form. I'm just looking. I'm able to see through my muslin enough to see where that red stitch line is. And I'm going to work my way around to my shoulder. Ideally, my back neck will stay pretty straight. So I'm hoping to just stay on that guideline around here to the shoulder. Now you can see that I'm getting pulls right here, which is just an indication that I need to clip more to release that tension. I can go on and remove some of that. Okay. And then our objective is to work it around to there. I'm going to shorten this guy up. He was way too wide. A normal mandarin probably stands 1.25 inches, 1.5 inches tall. I mean, you have to think that you can't get too very tall, or you start, hitting the chin and even the back of the head. So if I think about getting the center front to land on this second guideline, and just put a quick pin there. You can see I've got some clipping to do to release this tension. We do want it to just be smooth around. Looking better. We're still a little tight right here at my shoulder. So I'm going to see if it actually wants to come off my straight line a little bit. See my red stitching through there. There it is. Okay, not too bad. I'm going to go on and trim it down closer to the final height. If I want it to be 1.25 inches tall at its final just get it closer because it's hard to see the ease and so on that we might have at the top edge if we have too much fabric. Okay. I do want to make sure that my center back is staying on that seam. So I'll secure it to the dress form right there. And I don't think I have quite enough ease in here. I'd like to be able to get this pencil in so that, you know, she can breathe and swallow and so on. So we need to open it up a little bit, which means we're too tight here. We need a slightly larger neckline. So I'm going to lift and sort of get that guideline back closer to the neckline. Is that looking a little better? Maybe there's a little more room there. So collars will show you some changes with just the slightest movement of the fabric. You know, just make an 1/8 of an inch or so adjustment, and yeah. So I've got more ease over here now. I don't want the front edge to be like flying away. If it were just going to end here, maybe. Okay. We'll say that is good. So I need to make sure all of my marks are on the neckline, shoulder. I'm staying on the neckline with my guideline to about there. Center front. Mark. And I'm just going to draw this top edge in parallel on the table. Okay. All right, I'll trim up a lot of this just to get it out of the way. So we were straight all the way to here and then slight curve. If I square up my center front edge, it'll probably overlap. So usually you're going to come in some. So we were at 1.25 inches wide. We'll come in, we'll try a line about like that, 1.25 inches. I'll trim the neck down to about 1/4 inch seam allowance. And I'm going to take this top edge to the line. That'll help me see better how it will finish out. So I break my rule about cutting on the line, sometimes for collar edges. So we'll put her back up here. I'm still just pinning line to line, muslin to muslin, not catching the dress form. I did secure it at center back right there. So my perpendicular line is sort of running right with center front of the dress form. If I wanted, a bit of a gap, I could adjust that. Or sometimes you even have a little bit of a curve. But now it's even easier to see that I can get that pencil in there and I can see the proportions of what the finished edge will be since I've cut it right there. So we like it. Just to show you what a little change can do, let me sort of pull it 1/8 of an inch in here. So that made it a little bit tighter in this area. And that was just the slightest change. So we will go back to our original line. There we are. And there's a mandarin collar.